Alright, magandang araw mga ka-PTech. Isa na namang video ang binibigay po ng inyong PTech team para po sa inyo as you prepare for the upcoming licensure examination for teachers. So ito po ang ating PTech or ang ating Polaris Training and Education Consultancy. And so far, ang atin pong ibinibigay sa inyo ngayon ay mga series of videos na pinattern or naka-anchor po sa tinatawag po natin na table of specs, no, for the licensure examination for teachers. So ang PTech ay specializing po sa dalawang klase ng training program. Una po ay yung ating NCESH, yung tinatawag, or National Qualifying Examination for school heads, no? And this time naman, meron din po tayo ng mga available free videos para po sa licensure examination for teachers. Kaya kung bago ka pa lang sa ating channel ay you can like, share, and subscribe para po mas marami pa po tayong reach, no, na mga matutulungan din, no, pagka yung aim nila, no, to pass the LET. Okay, so let's start with our session number 21. Ang ating discussion ngayong video na ito ay ang assessment of learning. Okay, so session number 21 na po tayo. You can look for the other videos dito po sa ating YouTube link. All right. So first question is a teacher wants to check students' understanding after discussing a lesson. Which type of assessment should be used? All right, so there are 4 options given: summative, diagnostic, formative, placement. So importante that this question will be related to how you understand the distinctions between the 4, the summative, the diagnostic, the formative, and placement. So unahin natin yung tinatawag natin na summative. Ang summative assessment ay ginagawa po natin in order to be used as a basis for grading. No? So ito yung nagbibigay ng end of the unit, end of the lesson evaluation that will be used to check for the level of understanding ng ating mga estudyante. No? Ito yung ginagamit natin for the basis for their grade. So it is recorded, it is graded. Ang diagnostic naman ay ginagamit natin upang makita yung mga weaknesses ng ating mga estudyante. And pag sinabi natin na diagnostic, ito ay usual na ibinibigay prior the assessment. Okay? And ito din ay ito isang klase ng standardized test, no? So let's be very careful with the use of the term diagnostic assessment because may mga iba na gumagamit ng term na diagnostic assessment pero ang totoo lang ay isang simpleng pre-test lamang ang ginagamit, no? Ang diagnostic po ay isang uri ng assessment procedure kung saan ang ginagamit na material ay isang standardized test. Ang formative ay pwedeng gamitin before, during, or after the discussion of the lesson. Ito ay nagbibigay ng snapshot kung ano yung natutunan ng estudyante after the discussion of the lesson. No? So ito ay pwedeng recorded but it's not graded. Why? Because ito ay part ng instruction. Hindi kagaya ng summative na ikaw na ay nagse-certify ng mastery, no, ng mga estudyante. Ang certification of mastery will be on the summative. Pero kapag ang point natin is gamitin yung result ng assessment in order to guide instruction, then ang gagamitin natin doon ay formative assessment. Ang placement naman ay ito ay nagbibigay ng picture of the individual as to yung kanyang kung saan yung inclination, no, ng bata. So ang example dito yung pagbigay ng NCAE or the National Career Assessment for secondary learners, no? Ito yung binibigay sa mga usual, mga grade 9 yan, no? Ang pagbibigay sa kanila. So ito yung nagbibigay din ng idea doon sa individual kung saan yung kanyang most likely inclination. So upon hearing that, makikita natin na yung question na number 1 natin has something to do with the teacher wanted to check the understanding after discussing a lesson. So based on the discussion na naibigay ko, ang sagot natin dyan ay you're correct there if your answer is letter C. No? Ito ay isang klase ng formative assessment. Okay. Question number 2, which of the following best describes the purpose of the summative assessment? Again, to provide feedback, to determine mastery, to diagnose students' prior knowledge, or to place students in appropriate learning groups. All right? So, kaya ng discussion kanina, ang pagbibigay ng feedback, no, for improving learning ay nasa formative. Ang pag-diagnose ay diagnostic at ang placing students in appropriate learning group ay yung placement. So, the the term summative test is to determine mastery of learning objectives. Or yung nabanggit ko po kanina, yung certification, to certify mastery of the learning objectives. Tandaan mo na ang summative assessment ay recorded and it is graded. Okay? Kaya ang tamang sagot natin dyan, of course, ay letter B, to determine mastery of the learning objectives. 3. Before the school year starts, a teacher gives students a test to determine their strengths and weaknesses. What type of assessment is this? Formative, summative, diagnostic, or authentic? Okay, so nagbibigay ng idea kung alin yung strength and weaknesses ng mga estudyante. The correct answer here is, tingnan natin, letter C, diagnostic assessment. Uulitin ko, yung diagnostic assessment ay isang uri ng standardized test. No? According to yung mga literature, kung may mga nabasa na kayo dyan, baka na-overlook natin yung term na yun. Ito isang uri ng diagnostic assessment na nagbibigay ng idea, no, kung ano yung mga recurring weaknesses, no, ng ating mga estudyante. Question number 4. Which of the following is an example, no, of a formative assessment? Quarterly exam, final project, teacher's observation of students during the group work, or national standardized test. Ano ulit yung nabanggit natin about formative assessment? Ang formative assessment ay, it can be recorded but never used, no, as a basis for grading. This is the primary, no, kumbaga problem in the field in which teachers are no longer following that kind of principle, no, na nagagamit na lamang yung assessment as a way of kapag wala nang ginagawa ng mga estudyante, magpa-quiz ka na lang, magpa-record ka na lang, ganun. So, if we're going to be true to the principle of the assessment, ang formative assessment ay hindi po natin kailangan gamitin, no, para sa grading. So, alin dyan yung hindi kasama? So, obviously, ang answer natin for number 4 ay letter C, teacher's observation of students during the group work. No? Ang formative assessment ay nagbibigay ng guide kay teacher in terms of yung decision, what to do after the initial evaluation. Ito yung nagbibigay sa kanya ng idea kung mataas o mababa yung nakuha nila. Ito ay ginagamit ng teacher to be guided kung anong susunod na gagawin. Magre-reteach ba siya? Siya ba ay mag-proceed doon sa next lesson dahil satisfactory na yung level ng performance ng kanyang mga estudyante? Or ito din yung pwede nating sabihin na yung formative assessment ay ito ang nagbibigay ng signal kung ready na ba yung mga estudyante to take the summative. Okay? Kasi sa summative ay ano na yan, final na yan, na exam that will really certify the mastery of the learners. Number 5, a teacher uses rubrics to assess students' essays. What is the main advantage of using rubrics? Pag gumagamit tayo ng rubrics, okay? It speeds up grading. It makes grading completely objective. It provides clear criteria for scoring. It eliminates the need for teacher judgment. Ang rubrics ay pwede nating masabi na there are generally two types, no? Meron tayong holistic at saka meron tayong tinatawag na analytic rubrics. Both of which ay ginagamit in order to make the scoring more objective as compared to the subjective perspective, no, noong paggamit ng mga assessment tools. Kasi nga ang rubrics ay kadalasan ito ay nagagamit in order to assess yung mga performance tasks ng mga estudyante natin which are relatively subjective. Ang paggamit natin ng rubrics ay kahit papano nagkakaroon ng objectivity, no? Dahil nga doon sa mga indicators that are being placed doon sa paggamit po ng rubrics. Okay? So, for number 5, ang sagot natin dito ay letter C, no? It provides a clear criteria for scoring. No? Nagbibigay ng clear criteria for scoring. Ang pwede rin sana si letter B, it makes grading completely objective. No, dahil hindi naman po pwedeng sasabihin completely objective yung paggamit mo ng rubrics. No? Ito pa rin ay may subjectivity na part. However, ito ay nagbibigay ng clear criteria na ng scoring para doon kay teacher. Okay? Number 6. Which of the following assessment methods best evaluates students' ability to apply skills in real-world scenarios? So, ang keyword natin dito ay yung real-world scenario. Is it multiple choice test? Is it essay? Is it performance-based assessment? Or it's a true or false test? From the term itself, yung paggamit ng real-world scenario na term, ang number 6 ay tama ka kung ang sagot mo ay letter C. Okay? Meron kang performance-based assessment. In the performance-based assessment, dalawa din yan, no? Meron kang tinatawag na process-based at meron ka ding tinatawag na product-based. Okay? Kung ang performance is something to do with the actual delivery of a certain competence, na, at yung act of doing it ay yun yung tinitignan mo, yung ginigrade natin, then masasabi natin na ito ay isang process-based. No? Pero kapag, or process-oriented, I mean. Pero pag ang ginigrade naman natin ay yung produkto, no? There is an output after the instruction or instructions were given, ang bata ay nakagawa ng kanyang output, meron siyang product na ipinapakita na nagbibigay ng kanyang competence in terms of that objective or learning competency that you're testing, then masasabi natin na ito ay isang product-oriented, performance-based assessment. Okay? Number 7, which assessment technique best measures higher order thinking skills? Matching type, true or false, problem solving, or fill in the blanks. Okay, yung keyword mo dyan ay yung higher order thinking skills. Obviously, nakikita naman natin yan, no? Kung Ano yung pinakamalapit dyan? Ang sagot natin dito ay letter C, problem-solving task. You have to be very careful in terms of separating or distinguishing which are considered to be higher order thinking skills and that of the lower order thinking skills. Dahil yan din ang nagdi-dictate, no? The appropriateness or the validity of a certain assessment tool ay nakasalalay po yan sa kung ano yung uh, sabi natin difficulty level ng learning competence. No? So you need to provide variation as to the different test materials that will be given to our learners. Number 8, a teacher wants to assess a student's ability to analyze and synthesize information. Which type of test is most appropriate? Objective, portfolio, multiple choice, or essay test? Ang keyword ay ability to analyze and synthesize information. Analyze and synthesize information. So correct answer natin dito ay letter D. No? Siyempre, essay test yan. Kasi analysis and synthesis is something to do with the breaking down of concepts that can be tested using an essay and also with the summarizing of information. Pwedeng ma-check natin ito in terms of the provision po ng essay test. Be very careful lamang sa pag-phrase ng tanong dahil yung pag-phrasing natin ng ating mga tanong for the essay test will also play crucial part in assessing or providing yung valid na test material para sa kanila. Number 9, which of the following ensures that a test measures what it intends to measure? So, reliability ba, validity, objectivity, or practicality? It measures what it intends to measure. Yung intention ng material, intention of the assessment procedure, yun yung keyword mo doon. Is it reliability? Is it validity, objectivity, or practicality? Okay. Ang reliability is the consistency of the test. So, meaning, kapag sinabi natin na reliable yung test, it provides yung consistent results that if it will be given to another group, most likely the results will be the same. Okay? The pattern will be the same. Pag validity naman, yun na ito, no? Appropriateness, no? Yung term natin dito. Objectivity and practicality are all characters of a good testing material. So for number 9, ang sagot natin dyan ay pag-intend to measure. Ang word po doon ay validity because a valid test is the intention of which is clear. Okay? Sabi nga nila, if the test is valid, it is always reliable. No? But if the test is reliable, it is not always valid. Okay? Remember that, no? Pagka kayo ay sumasagot na ng inyong licensure examination test. Alright? Kaya mga kapitek, i-share mo na rin itong video na to para sa iyong mga classmates para makatulong din po sa kanila. And don't forget to subscribe. Alright? Number 10, if a test consistently produces similar results over time, it is said to be reliable, valid, biased, or authentic. Nabanggit ko na to kanina. Consistency of the material. Ang sagot natin ay A, no? Reliability or the test is said to be reliable. Ano ba ibig sabihin ng reliability? Reliability has something to do with it can be able to produce the same result even if you put it or you place it in different groups. No? Hindi siya yung validity kanina, yung term na ginamit natin is that the appropriateness level. No? The appropriateness level. Yung consistency naman has something to do with maaring yung group will be able to produce this number of those who will be getting this score. At kapag nilagay mo yan sa isang graph, magkakaroon siya ng halos pareho na itsura in terms of the distribution of scores. 11, a teacher ensures that her test items are aligned with the learning objectives. What is the teacher trying to achieve? Okay. Yung keyword mo dito ay yung alignment ng test material with that of the learning objectives. And if you're looking at that, if you're looking at the congruence of the test item to that of the learning objectives, then A, reliability ba ang hinahanap mo? B, validity ba? C, practicality or D, objectivity. Tandaan mo yung keyword na yan o yung keyword na may kinalaman kay alignment ng learning objectives. Ito po ay letter B, validity. Appropriateness pa rin yan. The validity is the appropriateness of the test material. So how appropriate would that be? Hindi lang po appropriateness in terms of the content being tested, but in terms of the competency, the learning level, or the difficulty level. Ganun din yun, no? So ibig sabihin, yung validity, pwede mong sabihin na if the test material is on or the learning competence is difficult, then dapat yung test material mo ay difficult din. Hindi po pwede na, halimbawa, yung learning objective mo ay identification or how do you call that? Yung simple determination of sequences, for example, tapos ikaw ay gagawa ng essay type. Okay? Yun yung punto natin. Ganun din, kapag ang iyong learning competence, ang kanyang behavioral term ay nag-uumpisa sa sabihin nating explain or evaluate, hindi ka pwedeng magbigay ng material na nag-identify lang. So there is already a disconnect between the two. Hindi na valid yung test material mo noon. Kahit na sabihin mong pareho yung content na iyong tinitest. Okay? So ang tawag po natin doon ay validity. Number 12, a well-designed multiple choice test should avoid which of the following? Clear instructions, distractors that are too obvious, items based on learning objectives, or logical sequencing of questions. Alin daw yung kailangan mong i-avoid dyan kapag nade-design tayo ng multiple choice test? Ang tamang sagot ay, siyempre tama ka dyan kung ang sagot mo ay letter B, distractors that are too obvious. Kailangan yung mga distractors natin, ano ba yung distractors? Ito yung mga other options that are not the correct answer. So if there are 4 options, one of the options there will be the correct answer. The remaining 3 are tinatawag po natin na distractors. Alright? So kapag sinabi mo na sino ang sumulat ng isang nobela, sabihin mo ng si nobela na El Filibusterismo. Okay? Or ang nobela na obviously Filipino yung title, tapos nagbigay ka ng mga distractors that are foreign sounding names, then technically those distractors are too obvious, kaya hindi ito nagiging valid yung test material. Okay? 13, a teacher analyzes test scores and finds that most students perform poorly on a specific topic. What should the teacher do next? Ignore the results, provide additional instruction, remove the topic from the curriculum, or give students higher grades to motivate them. So very clear. I believe that the option here is obvious for you to look at now. So perform poorly, ano gagawin mo ngayon sa susunod na discussion? Siyempre, formative test results will tell you na mababa yung score, kaya anong magiging sagot natin? It will be the provision of additional instruction on the topic. You do not have to proceed to the next level dahil hindi pa na-master yung prior concept. So answer natin dyan letter B. 14. If a teacher uses a grading system that compares a student's performance with others in the class, which type of assessment is being used? Anong keyword natin dito in terms of uh, yung type of assessment being used? Yung keyword natin dito ay comparing student performance with others. If the type of grading system ay gumagamit siya ng comparison in terms of how one person or one score is related to the score of the group, then dalawa lang naman ang pagpipilian mo dito. No? It's either a criterion reference or the norm reference. So obviously, kapag ang basis for the grading ay nakadepende sa group performance, dahil you are comparing the individual performance to that of the whole class, ang sagot natin dito ay letter B, no? Norm reference assessment. Ano yung isa? Yung tinatawag natin na criterion reference assessment. Pag sinabi natin na criterion reference, ito po ay yung paggamit ng grading system in which you provided them with a fixed standard. So kapag halimbawa sinabi natin na ang passing grade ay 50% of the total score, no? So yung 50% na yun na yung criterion mo. So kung yun ang criterion mo, lahat ng mga estudyante who will be able to get 50% and above ng kanilang score ay passing score yon. Pero lahat ng 50% and below or 50% below, ito ay ang failing grade. No? So yung 50% na term doon ay yung tinatawag natin na criterion, no? Standard. Hindi kagaya ng norm reference na yung level ng pagpasa ay nakadepende sa group performance. Okay? So kung ang group performance relatively ay low at ang halimbawa sabihin natin na yung mean or the average or the median, the performance mid performance ng grupo ay out of 50 ay nasa 20, then mababa din yung level ng passing percentage or bababa din yung level ng score that will be considered a passing score. Pero kapag ang isang high group, no, or relatively high performing group at meron silang mid or average or median na sabihin na natin 40 and above, then mataas din yung passing score, no? Hindi siya kapareho. Yun yung problem with the use of the norm reference kasi hindi mo po pwedeng sabihin na ito ay based on sa standard. Kasi nakadepende yung grading system or nakadepende yung evaluation or interpretation of the score base sa group performance. 15. Which of the following best describes criterion reference assessment? Now, na-discuss na natin ito, no? It measures students' performance against learning objectives, ranks students based on their scores, based on the national achievement standards, or always involves performance-based tasks. Okay? So, number 15, kapag criterion reference, ang tamang sagot natin dito ay meron kang sinusunod na measuring students' performance against a set learning objectives. Okay? It measures students' performance against set learning objectives. Meron kang nakaset, no, na specific criterion for that learning objective. 16. If a teacher wants to identify students who need additional support, which type of assessment should she use? Summative, norm, formative, or self-assessment? In the earlier part of this video, na-discuss na natin yung comparison of the two, the summative and the formative. So kung yung term na ginamit natin doon, ang summative ay ginagamit natin to certify mastery. While the formative assessment ay ginagamit natin to guide instruction. So therefore, ang tamang sagot natin dito ay formative assessment. Kasi nga, gusto mong tulungan yung estudyante in terms of yung next step na gagawin niya based on the result of the assessment. So if the assessment result will provide a guidance para kay teacher kung anong next step na gagawin niya to provide more instruction, then ang purpose na yon ay formative assessment. 17. Which of the following is a fair assessment practice? Giving students different versions of a test based on their abilities, informing students about assessment criteria before the test, using tests that only challenge the top students, or providing no feedback to students after the test. So, kung titignan natin dito, yung fair assessment practice dito ay yung letter B. We inform students about assessment criteria before the test. Lalong-lalo na kapag ang assessment tool na gagamitin natin, for example, ay performance-based assessment. Kapag performance-based assessment, kailangan yung criteria for scoring, yung pagbibigay natin or the description of the different indicators ay kailangan din i-discuss natin sa ating mga estudyante. In ideal case, ang pagbuo mo ng rubrics para sa isang performance task ay kailangan kasama na yung ating mga estudyante. So they're also being consulted in terms of what are the different criteria na po pwedeng gamitin and how the different indicators will be described for each level of performance. So answer natin dito is letter B, informing students about assessment criteria before the test. 18. A teacher notices that a student has test anxiety. What can she do to support the student? Avoid giving the test, lower the test difficulty, providing stress-free testing environment and clear instructions, or give the student extra time to complete the test. So parang ang maiwan na lang dyan ay dalawang options ang titignan natin. Option C and D. Alin ang tamang sagot? You are correct if your answer is letter C. Provide a stress-free testing environment and clear instructions. Item number 19, what is the main disadvantage of using only paper and pencil test for assessment? A, they are difficult to grade. B, they may not measure practical skills. They take too much time to administer. Or D, they are the only valid way to assess learning. Main disadvantage of only paper and pencil tests for assessment. You are correct kung ang sagot mo dyan ay letter B. They may not measure practical skills effectively. That's the reason why we are now using yung variety of assessment tools and techniques kagaya nga ng paggamit natin ng performance-based assessment, because the performance-based assessment will be able to measure yung tinatawag po natin na practical skills. And for the last item for this video, item number 20, sa susunod po ay ibibigay naman natin yung ibang mga test materials for the assessment of learning. But for this video, we are only going to discuss po 20 questions. Which of the following is an unethical assessment practice? Unethical assessment practice. Reviewing test content with students before administration. Modifying test items after analyzing their effectiveness, changing students' grades to meet passing rates, or giving students feedback on their performance. Unethical assessment practice. Correct answer is, syempre, yung letter C, yung changing students' grades to meet the passing rates. So there are also ethical considerations pagdating dito. But of course, you really have to master yung mga different principles. Importante yan, which we're going to discuss in some of the videos. Actually, if you're going to explore the channel, ay meron na po tayong 3 videos dyan. Extensive discussion of the different topics under assessment of learning. All right? So, there you have it. Mga kapitek, maraming salamat muli, no? Sa inyong panonood ng ating channel. So, I would like to encourage yung ating mga viewers to please like, share, and subscribe para po sa mas marami pang mga videos, free let review videos para po sa inyong lahat. Good luck po as you are embarking on your journey for passing the licensure examination for teachers. Maraming salamat at magandang araw sa ating lahat.